Boarding. California Eco-Bureaucrats halted a Pacific Palisades fire safety project to save an endangered shrub. I swear, people keep saying this stuff is disinformation. Like Gavin Newsom is like, this is disinformation. And he's like trying to get active in podcasts. And, he thinks he's like a YouTuber with all his response videos.
Oh my gosh.
But this is really interesting stuff because so many of these little things keep coming up.
Yeah.
Like they just keep coming up. California's eco-bureaucrats halted a wildfire prevention project near the Pacific Palisades to protect an endangered shrub. It's just the latest clash between fire safety and conservation in California that is coming under scrutiny following the devastating outbreak, the most devastating blaze in Los Angeles history, which was consumed the very same area. In 2019, the LA Department of Water and Power began replacing nearly 100-year-old line poles cutting through Topanga State Park when the project was halted within days by conservationists outraged that federally endangered Brontons milkvetch plants had been trampled during the process. Okay, so this special plant is trampled as they're trying to work on power lines, it sounds like.
Okay.
By
putting them underground, is that what they're saying?
I think so.
Cutting through. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. The goal of the project was to improve fire safety for the Pacific Palisades area by replacing the wooden poles with steel, widening fire access lanes in the area, and installing wind and fire resistance power lines, all after the area was identified as having an elevated fire risk. So why are they doing this? Because the power lines, if they're wood, they can tip over, and then that's how...
Crack, break.
Yeah. This
Rock.
project will help ensure power reliability and safety while helping reduce wildfire threats. These wooden poles were installed in 1933 and 1955 and are now past their useful service of life. And I'm excited to bring you guys our very first 3-day conference called the Bless God Summit, happening March 27th, 28th, 29th in Southern California. And at this conference, we'll have your very own Preston Perry.
Me as an evangelist, I've made it up in my mind that I'm not going to leave people with an excuse not to serve Jesus.
Dr. Sean McDowell.
If there's one thing Christians should care about, it's truth.
Our vision with this conference is to equip, empower, and inspire people to do the work of the ministry that God has for them in this time. And at this conference, we'll have your very own Alan Parr and his wife, Jim Parr.
The number one reason, people want to get divorced because they want to find someone else who can make them happy. Now, what they don't realize, they're chasing the wind.
John McCrae from What Do You Mean?
What you may be shocked, or you may not be shocked to know, is that the majority of Christians in America, they don't know how to articulate the message of the gospel to non-believers.
Lila Rose.
Love and marriage go together, that sex and marriage go together, that sex can bring life into the world. That's an amazing thing. That's not a bad thing.
Trizzle Fitness.
Most people fail at dieting because they're just trying to lose weight too fast. What are you in such a rush for?
But where a lot of people get stuck is figuring out what it looks like to walk in that. And so these 3 pillars of our conference will be covering everything from apologetics to family in the home and the marketplace, and how you can lean into those 3 pillars to discover your calling on this side of eternity. But after the amateur botanist hiking through the park during the work saw the harm done to some of the park's milkvetch, a flowering shrub with only a few thousand specimens remaining in the wild, and complained the project was completely halted.
Wow.
Instead of fire hardening the park, the city, which the state had undertaken the work without proper permitting, ended up paying $2 million in fines and was ordered by the California Coastal Commission to reverse the whole project and replant the rare herb. So they were fined, and they stopped the project, and they were forced to replant
And they had the garden.
And what?
And they had the garden.
And they had the garden. That work saved about 200 plants, almost all of which have now likely been torched in the wildfires that consumed Topanga Canyon, along with nearly 24,000 acres, 37 square miles, of some of LA's most sought-after real estate. Okay, at least 8 people died, and the fire is still not fully contained. The good news for the milkvetch, however, is that they usually need fire. They usually need wildfire to sprout, meaning dormant seeds now have a massive new habitat for a new carp and rare shrub.
Wow, that's a beautiful plant.
So who knows? Maybe this is misinformation. Maybe this is the same thing with the fish. Maybe it was the fish, and the fish were not true, and Gavin Newsom was not really trying to save the fish. Who knows? But I swear there's so many of these things that come up environmentally. California already makes it super difficult to build anything.
Yep.
This stuff just seems like it's just way too frequent.
I think about the houses. So like, you know, the stories of the guys that are saving their houses with the fire hose, but then for blocks and blocks, all their houses are burnt down. They're going to be the only house within acres, and it's gonna be like a farmland again.
Yeah, they're probably not going to stay there. I would think you wouldn't want to live in a neighborhood where everything's burnt down but your house.
You think they'll sell their house?
I don't know.
The guy that saved his house, saved his childhood home that he lives in, that his parents built, and he's like 65. So it doesn't sound like
he's going anywhere.
This old dog is moving out because it smells like
because it smells like
charcoal.
Fire. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's super sad. The whole thing is super sad. I don't know how they're going to rebuild it. I know Biden, in his vast wisdom and quick movement, approved $800 one-time payments.
Good
for everyone.
Good, just like he did to save all the people from that big Hurricane Helene. He saved them with that $800 payment.
Yes, smelt, the special fish of smelt. That was what was accused by Trump of. Newsom rejecting some sort of water plan. Newsom is denying it. Do you think this will have an impact on the macro political state in California? Because let's be frank for a second. Who keeps electing officials like the incompetent mayor, the incompetent governor? We would say incompetent. We would say they were incompetent before this, right?
Yeah.
Who keeps electing these people?
The brain rot folks closest to LA.
You know?
And so you're thinking like now they have to move out of state, or they're just moving in general. They're like, oh, I'll go back to my family in Arizona.
Or will they flip?
I have my super liberal acquaintance. She evacuated, and she was in Arizona. I heard that so she is in this coffee shop, and she was like, yeah, and I started my morning, and I pulled my laptop out. I had my coffee. I'm sitting in the coffee shop, and she's in Arizona now, and she normally lives in LA. But she's evacuated. She's like, and I pulled out my tarot card to manifest some energy and see what the day holds for me. Okay. She's like, and the lady next to me got up and moved looked spooked and moved as far away from me as possible. And she's like, and then I remembered I'm not in LA anymore.
Wow. All right.
I'm like,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. So it'll be interesting.
They're gone.
It'll be interesting on if there's a disruption, you know?
Yeah.
If there's a disruption. Some would argue that the last election was disrupted because of all the stuff that happened and it impacted Florida and North Carolina, right? Because North Carolina was a swing state. You know, who knows?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It'll be interesting.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here in beautiful Carlsbad, California. That's the beach right behind me. And some of you guys have been asking about the first ever Bless God Summit. Well, I am ecstatic to announce to you that we have confirmed the venue here at the Carlsbad Westin Spa and Resort, just a few miles from the beach, right next to Legoland. This place is phenomenal. I've been on staycation here with my family, and I can't wait to show you how awesome this resort truly is. All right, so I'm here on the lawn right outside of the ballroom where the Bless God Summit will be happening here. We'll be getting to hang out, have opportunities to mingle, build with some of the speakers. And this is not just a destination conference. This will be the solution to the culture war. As we're coming out of a tumultuous 2024, our hope is to empower, inspire, and equip you to live a life that blesses God by living a better story and building better culture. So we're not just gonna be sitting down for 8 hours a day and having speakers pour into you. That will be some of it, but this will be an interactive, creative approach to make sure that the information and the transformation hits you in a way that has an impact and empowers you to be the light and the salt that Jesus talks about in Matthew chapter 25. While we're more divided than ever before, while nihilism and despair is spreading everywhere, we want to make sure that we come together and give you guys an opportunity to grow in hope, to grow in faith, grow in vision by our incredible lineup of speakers. We have Dr. Sean McDowell, who's going to be speaking. We have my man Alan Parr and his wife, Jen Parr. We also have Lila Rose from Live Action, as well as my man Trizzle Fitness, giving you the practical implications of what it means to honor God with your body. And of course, my man Preston Perry. In addition to those speakers, we have Ryan Horton confirmed to lead worship. We have a special performance by America's Got Talent winner, Dustin Tivella. And we have a whole additional lineup of speakers and performers that we're in the process of confirming right now. So the event's gonna be here in the Grand Pacific Ballroom, but if you have kids and you're like, they're gonna make noise, feel free to hop right on over to our family overflow room. Now, some of you guys may not be familiar with Carlsbad, California, but for a little bit of context, we're about 40 minutes from the San Diego airport, about an hour from the Orange County airport, and about an hour and a half from the LAX airport. We're about 1.5 miles from the beach, and you hear that noise behind me? Well, that is Legoland. And this property has its own entrance right onto Legoland. So this would be a great opportunity for those of you guys that have families, come out, plan a vacation around this, take the kids to Legoland, and enjoy the beautiful weather, Carlsbad, California. And if you're single looking to mingle, we have a special event planned just for you. Now, in terms of lodging, one of the coolest things is you can stay right here on site at the Westin. We have a limited amount of rooms blocked off just for you guys at a slightly discounted rate. And there's also other hotel and Airbnb options in the area. So this is all happening March 27th, 28th, and 29th. So go to blessgodsummit.com right now to be the first to get in the queue to get early access to the VIP and general admission before the public. All right, I'll see you over there.